أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Dear audience, Assalamu alaikum. Today's talk is a very important address to all of the humanity, that how you can deny the phenomena of resurrection. How can you refute that you will be raised again, you will be given a second life? And how can you say, verse number 47 and 48 of Surah Al-Waqi'ah, وَقَانُوا يَقُولُونَ أَإِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا وَعِظَامًا أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ أَوَآبَاؤُنَا الْأَوَّلُونَ, and would say, what after we have died and become mere dust and bones? Shall we forsooth be raised from the dead, and perhaps too our forebears of old? A very good part of the mankind believe and they think that when they die and they get decomposed, and even the bones, they are absorbed by the mud, by the organisms, and they feel like they will not be resurrected. I'm going to seek references from the Kitabullah, from the book of the Creator, from the Surah Al-Hajj, which is the 22nd chapter of the Kitab-e-Aziz, verse number 5 to verse number 7, and seek these references from the Kitabullah to address the whole of the humanity, that it is not possible for you to deny the phenomena of resurrection. Verse number 5 of Surah Al-Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing to whole of the humanity. Ya ayyuhan nasu in kuntum fi raybin min al-ba'si fa inna khalaqnakum min turabin summa min nutfatin summa min alaqatin summa min muzghatin mukhallaqatin wa ghayri mukhallaqatin liyubayyina lakum وَنُقِرُّ فِي الْأَرْحَامِ مَا نَشَاءُ إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُّسَمًّى ثُمَّ نُخْرِجُكُمْ طِفْلًا. Let us concentrate and pay heed. This is the first part of the verse number 5 of the Surah Al-Hajj, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has spoken. This is the meaning. O men, if you are in doubt as to the truth of resurrection, remember that verily we have created every one of you out of dust, then out of a drop of sperm, then out of a germ cell, then out of an embryonic lump, complete in itself and yet incomplete, so that we might make your origin clear unto you, and whatever we will to be born we cause to rest in the mother's wombs for a term set by us, and then we bring you forth as infants. Let us concentrate and pay heed to the messages of the Kitab-e-Aziz, and also bear in mind that these verses were revealed on the beloved heart of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam 1400 years ago, when all the science and technology and development which we see in the present world, they were not there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described the phenomena of the origin and the creation and the development of man in this verse of the Surah Al-Hajj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking, Ya Yuhannas, O mankind, O all of the humanity, all of the mankind is addressed. In kuntum fi raybim min al-ba'si, if you have got any doubt, any uncertainty about the phenomena of resurrection, if you think that you will not be raised again, if you think that you will not be given a second life, then bear this fact in mind. فَإِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن تُرَابٍ, that we created you in the first step, we created you out of dust. So the human development and the evolution and the origin of the man has started from the dust. Summa min nutfatin, and the second stage of the human development or human creation is of a nutfa. Nutfa meaning a sperm or an ovum coming from a female, sperm coming from a male, and ovum coming from a female. So this is an early process of the development of a human, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that in the first step I originated the man out of the dust. This was the first step in your creation, and now the process of your creation is continuing through the process of nutfa, meaning sperm coming from a male and ovum coming from a female. Summa min alakatin, and when from this nutfa, when the fusion of the sperm and the ovum happens, then what happens? The next stage of the human development is alaka. Alaka means anything which clings, which adheres to something, which suspends to something. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about the process of the implantation of early stages of the human fetus in the mother's womb. So when the fertilization does happen from the nutfa, what the next stage of the human development is implantation, because that little human in its very initial stages needs support, needs the best environment for, and needs to be implanted in the uterus for further development to continue. Summa mim muzghatin, and the next stage of your development, O man, is muzga. Muzga is defined in Arabic as a piece of flesh. So then out of that alaka, something which clings, which adheres inside the mother's womb, after the implantation and further development happens, further growth happens, your next stage in your development is a muzga. So it starts forming a shape of a flesh, early part of human development, and that flesh even grows gradually. Mukhallakatin wa ghaira mukhallakatin, and that piece of flesh is formed and at the same time it is unformed, meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining the process of organogenesis within the embryo, within that initial stages of fetal life, that embryo, when it develops and it divides and grows, it's all the organs of that embryo do not develop at the same time. So as some organs they develop at an earlier stage, and some organs they do develop at a later stage. So that muzga is mukhallakatin wa ghairi mukhallakatin, is formed at also unformed. So it has got both the forms within it. Some of the organs they are formed earlier, and some of the organs they are formed at a later stage of the fetal life. لِنُبَيِّنَ لَكُمْ. In this way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making you clear through the verses of the Kitabullah that how He has created you, how He has originated you, and how He is maintaining and continuing the process of the creation of man. وَنُقِرُّ فِي الْأَرْحَامِ مَا نَشَاءُ إِلَى أَجَلٍ مُسَمًّى. And after the stage of Musga, what does happen? The further development happens in mother's womb for a term which is set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that fetus stays within the mother's womb. After the organogenesis happens, that fetus stays in the mother womb for further growth and development by until a term which is set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Summa nukhrijukum tiflan, then He brings you out forth as an infant. So, and you are completely dependent on your parents and your mother especially, and you are very weak when you are born. The verse is continuing. ثم لتبلغوا أشدكم ومنكم من يتوفى ومنكم من يرد إلى أرذل الأمور لكي لا يعلم من بعد علم شيئا, meaning so that you might attain to maturity. For among you are such as are caused to die in childhood, just as many of one of you is reduced in old age to a most abject stage, ceasing to know anything of what he once knew so well. Let us concentrate on this part of the verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying when you are born as an infant and you start your worldly life, summa litabluhu ashuddakum, then what happens? You grow further after coming into the worldly life, and you develop and you attain further maturity, and you develop into a mature man. وَمِنْكُمْ مَنْ يُتَوَفَّى وَمِنْكُمْ مَنْ يُرَدُّ إِلَى أَرْذَلِ الْأُمُورِ. So out of you, some they die at an early stage, an early part of their life, and some of you they reach quite an old age. And لِكَيْ لَا يَعْلَمَ مِنْ بَعْدِ إِلْمٍ شَيْئًا, and they, after knowing so much in this world, after getting so much knowledge and skills in this world, when they reach to their old age, they forget everything which they have learned. Many of the people who get dementia and they do get very age, they reach very old age, they forget what they have learned in their earlier life. In the later part of the verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is further addressing the mankind that how you can deny resurrection. وَتَرَى الْأَرْضَ حَامِدَةً فَإِذَا أَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْهَا الْمَاءَ اهْتَزَّتْ وَرَبَتْ وَأَنبَتَتْ مِنْ كُلِّ زَوْجٍ بَهِيجٍ. And if, O man, you are still in doubt as to resurrection, consider this. You can see the earth dry and lifeless, and suddenly when we send down waters upon it, it stirs and swells and puts forth every kind of lovely plant. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing to the humanity that you cannot deny resurrection. Resurrection is going to happen. It is a natural phenomena. It is set by the laws of the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you are going to be raised again. You will be given a second life. There is no possibility of you escaping resurrection. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given example that you cannot deny resurrection. وَتَرَى الْأَرْضَ حَامِدَةً, just look at the earth, look at that part of the earth which becomes dry and barren and lifeless. فَإِذَا أَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْهَا الْمَاءَ اهْتَزَّتْ وَرَبَتْ. So when we send down the water, we pour down the water from in the form of rain on that dry, barren earth. So it swells it up and stirs it up. وَأَنْبَتَتْ مِنْ كُلِّ زَوْجٍ بَهِيجٍ, and puts forth every kind of lovely plant. So resurrection is quite similar to the way God gives life to the dead, barren earth. Similar is the resurrection. You will be raised again. You will be given a second life. Verse number 6 of Surah Al-Hajj. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْحَقُّ وَأَنَّهُ يُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى وَأَنَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. All this happens because God alone is the ultimate truth, and because He alone brings the dead to life, and because He has the power to will anything. This is the truth from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ, this is your Rabb, this is your Creator, which who has given you this life in a miraculous way. Your first existence, your first life in this world is not less than any miracle. So if He can give you a first life and can explain you how He has created you, it is quite easy for Him to give you a second life. And he just look at the earth, dry, barren earth, mankind, how your God gives the life to the dry, barren earth when the rain falls on it. So this zalika bi anna Allah, this is your Rabb, this is your creator, huwa al-haq, and this is the truth, this is al-haq. Wa annahu yuhyil mauta, and he gives life to the dead. Wa annahu ala kulli shay'in qadir, and he has the command and he has the power to will anything. Verse number 7 of the Surah Al-Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking, wa anna sa'ata atiyatul la rayba fiha wa anna Allah yab'usu man fil qubur and know, O man, that the last hour is bound to come beyond any doubt, and that God will indeed resurrect all who are in their graves. Let us concentrate. This is a very important message to all of the humanity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing wa anna sa'ata atiyatun, that sa'at, that hour, that resurrection day is bound to come. You cannot deny it. It is bound to come. There is no doubt in its coming. فَأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْأُسُ مَنْ فِي الْقُبُورِ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect each and every one who is lying in the graves, or whether you burn your bodies, whether someone gets eaten by a beast or an animal, whether someone gets decomposed completely after his death, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what earth, which part of you the earth has taken from your bodies, and he will give you back, and he will give you a second life, the resurrection. I seek Allah's forgiveness if there's any shortcoming in the delivery of the message. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا واخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. جزاكم الله خير.